Welcome in. It is day 33 and you are speaking with the Meeples Champion. So today we're going to be bringing a game that is one of my all-time favorites. Now when I say that, this is a newer game. However, as most of you did during the pandemic, it was really tough to meet with friends. My friends would play all together on Board Game Arena every week. When we finally were able to start meeting in person again, we continued what we used to do, which was just marking off at least the games we played and who won. We got a little bit more in depth this year, really keeping track of every single person who participated, the final scores. Well, when 52 weeks were up, we went back and we sent to every person who had participated a list of all the games they played in. We asked everybody to rank their games. What was your favorite game? What was your least favorite? And then we took those lists. Obviously, some games were going to be a little different as not everybody played every game. And based on the algorithm we put together, we basically combined them and figured out as a group where were the games ranked for us. 4 out of 5 people ranked this their favorite game of the year, including me. And it is definitely in consideration for my game of favorite of all time. I played it already 3 times this year. It is very close to being bought for my own collection. My friend let me borrow his for today. That game is Dune Imperium. Dune Imperium was a surprise. I was very much hoping to enjoy the game, but I'll fully admit that it was not one that I was sure I'd love. I had seen some videos, I had watched some, playthroughs and seen some readings about it and, caught some pictures, talked to people who'd played it. It seemed good, but it was one of those things where I knew, yes, I enjoy the movie. I enjoy the prior movies and the TV adaptations they've done. I've never read the books. I've watched everything that they've filmed for it. It's never been one that's hit huge for me, but I always give the next one a chance again because I like what they're trying to do. And so when I saw this is coming out as a game and the way they were doing the game, with mechanics I was familiar and very excited about, it really grabbed my attention. And we had it set up, we had our cards, we had it ready to go, and that anticipation was palpable and went from anticipation to the game started to it wasn't even the end of first round, and everybody at the table was kind of like, just, wow, this game is what we were hoping for. It's even better than we were hoping for. We all loved it. So let's get into the real factors and try to figure out where does this truly rank when you're talking about the games that I rank every week. So, first, art. The art is a little darker in this game. I think that the box art is fantastic. I have absolutely no complaint about it. I think that the cards, the board, the little cards, they're all great. They do a good job of selling what Dune is. And when you're talking about board games, I think a lot of people get thrown because fantasy really owns board games. Fantasy is the major template for most things, if it's not abstract. Sci-fi doesn't seem to hit as well because sci-fi tends to be these epics. Twilight Imperium, Eclipse, these games that are going to take you 4, 5, 6 hours to play. So having something come out smaller like this is a rarity, and I think the art is something that can throw people. If this was a fantasy game, I may not get behind the art as much, but because it is a sci-fi game, the art is perfect for me. It sells the theme, it sells the feel of the game, you're into it. I'm 100% down with the art. It's a big thumbs up from me. Components. The components you're looking at are primarily cards and wood. You got your little meeples, you've got your little resources, you got your spots that you're going to eventually fill on the board. You got some little cardboard pieces for the occasional piece of use, but primarily outside of those, it's cards. I think everything's great. There's nothing there I'm worried about wearing and getting beaten up through time. I think that when you're talking about the cardboard and you're talking about the wooden pieces, those are 100% fine. You're talking about the cards, they're just as good as cards from most other things. They're, to me, equal to those from, say, Clank. So therefore, big thumbs up for the components. The price. The price is reasonable. It's going for $60. $60 seems expensive. It's not. It's not expensive. That is, something that is the average price in this industry, and with what's happening right now with shipping, to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if you see this price start to go up and see 70 start to be the norm, which is annoying, but it's normal. So is this game worth 60 when you look at other $60 games? Yes. You are getting plenty in that box. There's no need for you to freak out and say, we're getting so little, why are they charging 60? That box is filled with cards and pieces and extra pieces for if you want to do additional, there's some expansion type feel in there for other options. It's worth the 60. You're going to be able to get this in so many places. I have not seen a board game store that doesn't stock it. I've seen this at every single one of the Barnes & Noble that I've walked into. It's always available on Amazon. I believe it is also available at select Targets. I can't speak to all of that. I know I just went to a Target the other day and it was not there. But this is available pretty wide. So you can get your hands on it. The price is worth it. Difficulty. I think if you're newer to board gaming, it could be a little tough. I mean, you're dealing with a few really cool mechanics mixed together. You have the deck building. Now, primarily, you're not going to be able to get that many cards. You might play around maybe 8 rounds in this game, which means the odds are you're getting 8 to 10 cards. So your deck isn't going to get huge. Now, you could fully commit to an all-out, I'm building my deck strategy. And if that's your goal, then yes, you could get a bigger type deck. You could be looking at getting 20, 25 cards. But realistically, I think that if you're playing a 4-player game, 3 of those players are probably getting 8 to 10 cards on average. So I think that there's deck building, but it's not overwhelming. Then there's the faction building, which is within the decks, focusing in on, hey, I want a certain faction so that I can truly use that part. Now that to me is pretty new. We've seen it in Clank and Space, the idea of we're going to take what Clank did and we're going to add factions, and now if you pull out the same cards at the same time, they're going to have faction ability that you can use, and therefore you get more power. Really cool. This game did different with the board was really cut off. So when you buy certain cards, it says, well, this card can only be used in one of the 4 basic locations or multiples. Or you have to get a very powerful card for a faction card, which means it's way more expensive. But now it gives you an in to the faction locations, which has more powerful abilities, or you're trying to really focus in on their victory points because there's a line to get the victory point that everybody can get, and whoever gets to the highest spot who passed that line also gets an additional victory point for getting the actual token of that particular faction. And if you're the highest on there, it's yours. Nobody can take it. Somebody surpasses you, they can snag it from you. You lose a point, they gain a point. So I like that. Then you're talking about area control because everybody is trying to build up their forces. So you're trying to find ways to get more people into first your actual group of soldiers and then actually into the battle. And then it's based on how many people are in the battle, how many additional guns do you have? And by the end of it, all it really answers is for this round who had the area control for the round. First place is going to get a big prize, second place a prize, third place a prize. So I really like that factor to it. I think it's a really cool idea. And then, of course, there's also being able to buy, say, intrigue cards, which then those allow you to have all sorts of impacts, unexpected attacks. It's really cool, but there's a lot going on. So if you're brand new, it is a bit difficult. I wouldn't suggest a younger kid to jump into this or a brand new person to gaming to jump into this. I think needs you to have started with something to introduce you to those mechanics first. It's not something that's going to completely lose you. I think unless somebody is got no ability, it's okay. But I would suggest, play an easier deck builder first. Play an easier area control first. Let them get a feel for it, and then bring them into this. Replayability, we literally couldn't stop playing. We had a night where everybody, was playing. We finished, and a couple of us wanted to stay behind and play a second game. I've picked this, and another person picked this, all within a month of the first person picking it. We play once a week, and this game ended up being played 3 out of 5 weeks. It's definitely replayable, and every time feels like you're doing a new strategy. There's new ways to win, so it's really cool. And that jumps right into the next category of routes to victory. There are so many routes to victory in this game. You can be going all out on your cards. You can be going all out on the battles. You can be going all out on trying to get factions. You can be going all out on trying to just spread throughout everything. You can change because you're seeing that it's not working. You go another way. I love that. So thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. We're just getting thumbs up left and right here. Unique. Is it unique? Yes, the theme is not unique. They've done Dune games before. Yes, the different mechanics are not necessarily unique, except for one. When I talk about that faction ability, that having a worker placement to your left, and that's another part of this. Another piece of the game is there is worker placement. The fact that there's a worker placement setup that requires you to have to play a card of the faction to get in, that to me is brand new. I've never really seen that before. Now, I am admittedly have not played every game. I play a huge amount of games, but in today's world, the biggest game players in the world are lucky if they're touching 10-15% of the games that are out there, because there's too many. So I'm sure there must be something that this got that inspiration from, but from what I've seen, that particular mesh of mechanics is brand new. That is unique. And even if it isn't, even if you show me another game that's particularly in, to show me the way they do worker placement, mixed with the way they do a minor deck builder, mixed with the area control, with the cards that can be played out of nowhere, with the battle that allows you to earn points, with the points that can be shifting, it feels like a game that is unlike any other I've played. It is one of the biggest surprises I've ever come across in a game. I feel like the last time I saw this was Clank, and this, for me, jumped above Clank. And then, of course, I come to find out that apparently Clank and Dune Imperium are inspired by the same person and created. And I was like, well, that's not a shock, because this feels like that jump up. It feels like somebody who made Clank would be able to make this as their next level game. So for me, I love it. This is thumbs all over the place. I'm officially just saying everybody should get this game. Everybody should play this game. Yes, it may not hit for the younger kids and it may not hit for the new players. Get it anyways. Because if you're really starting to get into gaming and you think that this theme seems cool, well, then it's going to inspire you to either learn the game or go get something so you can play a beginner game and get right into this when it's done. It's for everybody. It's a huge, huge recommend. I love it. I hope all of you love it. And if you don't, that's okay, because we don't have to love everything the same. This is just, for me, the game of my year so far. You have been talking to the Meeples Champion, and today is day 33. I'll talk to you tomorrow.